friends, and welcome to Tom's Tinkering and Adventures. Today we are going to wrap up on the 3 guns that I received from my friend's dad. The last one I have is this black powder rifle here. This was a kit gun. It was put together. I believe it is Connecticut Valley Arms is the name of the manufacturer. So you could order this as a kit, and it basically was just do a little bit of sanding on the wood, assemble the thing, and put it together. But I remember talking to his dad about it, how he was pretty proud about when he put it together, and even had a whole Western outfit that he wore, and shot this several times. These guns have taken on a whole new meaning to me here, because shortly after I received these, my friend's dad passed away. So now they have a little bit of sentimental value to me, and probably to my friend as well. He's not into guns as much, but I'm going to see if he's interested in any of these that I have fixed up. The first 2, or this one. This one I could see really maybe being a little bit more sentimental value, just because it's something that his dad worked on. So I want to do this one upright, make it look good. I mean, it's nothing fancy. These guns are not valuable, but I think it has a little bit of meaning to it. I put my I have a black powder pistol. I put that next to it here. And even before I started on this video, I was getting a little bit excited about getting this gun started. And there you go. You can see I polished the butt plate already there. There's a lot of brass on this thing, and it ought to look really nice, cleaned up. Like this one, I worked on this about 10 minutes. There's a brass plate underneath here. This trigger guard here is brass. I'm not certain if that is brass or not, but we'll find out. And the same with the hammer. This front blade sight here is brass, along with this stock end, and then these holders for the rod, which I already had pulled out and started cleaning that as well. So I figured I was getting excited to try to make this thing look nice in honor of my friend. So I will make a video about it as well. So let me see if I can figure out how to take this thing apart. There's no visible screws on it to take this apart, but I see these pins, which I think I'm gonna have to try to drive out. So I'm gonna see if that's how that comes apart. That one might drive out that way, and this one I have to drive out this way. So I'm gonna get a little pin punch, and I'm also gonna pull all of the things that screw off of here off, and we'll get started on it. Having no idea how to take this apart, I'm just looking for the mechanical obvious things here. So I see that we have this plate that has 2 screws in it, and on this side I can see there's the 1 screw showing through there, and there's one showing through right there. So I'm assuming that this whole mechanism has to come out by these 2 screws. So let's give her a try. I also see a screw on the top here. I'll show you that in just a second. There's a screw on the top right there. And now with the trigger guard off, I can see that that goes all the way through into this trigger mechanism. So let's pull that one out too while we're here. It looks like I could pull this hammer off of here as well. Oh, look at that. The whole trigger mechanism just fell out. It's very simple. It's just a wedge basically attached to this trigger. And I'm guessing that all that does is just acts upon this piece here on the hammer. Let's bring it half, and pulls right out. Easy. And there's the mechanism behind there. So once you pull this all the way back, then that trigger just acts on this little arm here. Very simple. We'll clean that all up. And now, I notice that this is already getting loose. let's see how this comes apart. We'll work on it together here because, oh, there you go. It just pulls apart. Amazing. Awesome. Look at that. There's another little brass plate that we can probably ease off of there and polish that up as well. Okay, so now we're down to figuring out how to take the rest of this stock off. And like I said, these pins appear to me like they were pressed in. So I'm going to try to take a little pin punch and give them a little tap and see if they come out. Because I'm hoping that these guides will be screwed to the bottom of this, I'm hoping. And I can polish those all up as well. So let me grab a pin punch and see if I can't get those out. Okay, so I've got my pin punch here. Let's see if this is how this comes apart, because I don't know for sure. Oh yeah, driving right through. You can see it coming out. And this one looks like it probably comes out the same way. Make sure that you're all in the view here. One, that's two, and voila, and there you go. You can see the screws that hold on these little guide rods for where the little packing rod, or whatever you call it, goes in there. All right, this is excellent. So now we have the barrel, which I am going to try to do my, just oil it down and see what it looks like, because it doesn't look like, there's some surface rust on it, but it looks to be in fair shape. So we're just going to clean that up. I'll get these off of here. I'll show you a little bit on the metal polish, and then we'll figure out what we're going to do with the wood, sand it down and re-stain it and make it look nice. All right, there we are. Disassembled as far as we're going to get it anyway. And these came out very easily. Everything came apart pretty good. So I'm going to work on the brass stuff first. And like I said, here's one that I spent a little bit of time on. Here's this bottom plate that goes right there. Let me show you how I've been working on this stuff here. I'll get it set up and show you the difference. So here's the before. Tarnished. And we got a little bit of green corrosion on there. The product that I'm using is this Mother's Mag and aluminum polish. Pretty much any metal polish would work. You could use Brasso. Here, hang on a second. Hoorah, US Navy. Never dull, you can use that. That's empty though. There's a tiny bit of it left, but it brought back some PTSD for me, so I didn't want to use it. If you served in the military, you might have used that stuff. So here we go. Let's see how long it takes to clean up this little section here. Put a little bit on my paper towel. And just rub it in there, and it takes a little bit of elbow grease. It means you have to work. I know, it sucks. You could also, I have my bench grinder over here. I don't have what, but they make a like a felt wheel that you could put on there. And if this turns out to be too much work for me, I might purchase one and install it. There you go. I've been working on that for about 40 seconds. You can already see a little bit of polish in there. So this piece will take a couple minutes. So that's what I'll be doing for the next several minutes here, is trying to polish up all these brass items and see how they turn out. So I'll do a before and after picture and show you. All right, after a lot of elbow grease, you can see I got pretty decent shine to most of this stuff here. These items are not brass, so I just kind of Cleaned them up a little bit. So now we're going to move on to the barrel. I've got some gun oil here. I've used just regular lubricating oil before when I've done this. But I'm just going to put a little bit of oil on this barrel and rub it in with the, I was going to use a paper towel, but I guess I'll use this t-shirt, and we'll see how it looks. I don't want to get too invasive on this. You know, I've done the steel wool before, but my thoughts are this barrel probably came untreated, and it was probably done with a home kit of a bluing or a browning kit. So it's probably not as good of a coating on here as you'd get from, say, a factory rifle or shotgun or whatever. So I don't know as if I want to hit it with the steel wool, because it might be pretty thin coat of whatever's on here. I'll take it off. So I'm going to just hit it with this and we'll see what it looks like. I don't know how well you're going to pick that up there, but you can see the bluing or browning or whatever was put on here. Not very even and pretty thin. So I'm just going to keep it oiled up really well. And what I might do in the future is I might try to do a bluing or a browning, on this. Browning is a similar barrel coating as bluing. It's a little bit older style, which would be the style that would be on this type of a original rifle. So when you do a replica, you'd want it to look that way. But there's a lot of places it's really thin. I did use a little bit of steel wool in some places where there was heavier rust, but very gently. There you can maybe see a little bit of rust still there. I just wanted to kind of knock it down even because I knew it would go right through this coating. So we're going to call that barrel pretty good. And you can read the numbers on there and stuff now. So we'll get that oiled down really well, one more coat, and then I'm going to move on to sanding the wood items. Okay, here's your before look at the wood items. I'm going to get sanding them, and I'll put some finish on them, and you'll see what they look like afterwards. Well, this wood didn't really get too dark with that oil. Usually it takes a little bit more of the stain or the oil in there. But I guess we'll see how this gun looks as a blonde. So let's get her put back together and we'll see how it looks. I think it's gonna look okay, being a little bit lighter colored. I guess we'll see once it's all together here. And I guess if I don't like it, you can always redo it. It wasn't terribly hard to take apart. Definitely have worked on some modern firearms that are more difficult to work on. The shiny brass looks really nice on here in my opinion. I'm digging it. I may have to go down to the hardware store and see if they have some brass screws. I'd like to replace these. Some of these screws are in kind of sad shape. Some new hardware would really make it look better. I kind of get a little bit OCD about lining up these screws. So what I would do is I'd buy a package of them and I'd put them in until they got just tight and see, because I'd like them all to line up. Right now, my OCD is kind of going a little bit crazy here because I have one that way, and one that way, and one that way. And on this plate here, they're all over the place, but that's just minor stuff, kind of stuff that I pay attention to and maybe nobody else does. Maybe other people do, I don't know. We'll hit the brass with a little bit of a rag here. Let's see how she looks. Bring it over here. Oh my God, it's heavy, one arm. At least holding it in the back. There you go. So what do y'all think? Does it look okay with the light wood? Lots of shininess now. Didn't quite get that front blade side as much as I would like. And we'll flip her over for display on that side. There's where you'd put your percussion cap. I think it'll be all right. It's kind of a little bit different color between the two here, but maybe it'll mellow out a little bit. We'll let it sit and think about it. I like it, but I don't know. We'll take a look and see what some period correct ones look like. Maybe I might want to make it darker, but for now, at least we know everything is there, and the brass is all cleaned up, and the wood is pretty clean. So we'll see what it takes if I want to make it darker. But it definitely looks a lot better, and I'm hoping that it's a good memorial tribute to my friend. So thank you very much for watching. Get out there and find your adventure. Adios.